welcome to our podcast, Johnny and Phil's Voices from the Village. And we have a community maker, Don Solberg, with us today. He's a good friend of both Phil and I's, and he's very involved in the theater arts here in Ellensburg, and he is a contributor financially to all the good things here in Ellensburg. So we're happy to have him today. Thank you, Don Solberg.
Glad to have you here, Don. We've been friends for a really long time.
A long time.
You were a family physician, I think, starting in 1980.
Yeah.
About then.
About a year after. We both came at the same time.
Yeah.
What year was that?
Came in 79.
I started work January 1st of 1979.
Wow. What a history together.
I know. Hooked it up with him at that point in time. Great family physician. Did a lot of great stuff for our family.
Lucky man.
Plus, a lot of great stuff with the community. Laughing Horse Summer Theater, the Jazz in the Valley, the theater group now. In addition to your medical role, you've played a really great role in community development. And that's what this podcast is all about, is being talking to people who have a large role in how the community goes.
Mm-hmm.
So we have 3 questions for you this morning.
Oh, boy.
And I'll give you a summary of them. They're pretty simple, but one is, what inspires you about Ellensburg? A second is, what kind of challenges do you think we face as a community? And third is, how do you know if we're getting better?
Okay. Good.
First question, what inspires you about our community? I suspect this part of the conversation could last a while because you seem to be an inspired human.
Well, thank you. I don't know about that.
I do.
But
we do, yeah.
We do.
But inspiration is different than involvement. I think I've always been involved in the community.
Oh, okay. That's a good distinction. Thank you for that.
And that involvement arises out of both my own personal enjoyment. I find it very enjoyable to feel like I can be in a place that I make a difference in and that I can influence how life is experienced in that community around me. So that is the personal reward that I've always felt, I think. I've been in places where that wasn't the case, and that was clearly not enjoyable for me. So I learned that lesson early in my medical practice life. But I also, since I was a kid, have been involved with arts, theater, music, have always been kind of important to me since childhood. And I took a long vacation from a lot of that when I went into medicine. It's pretty science-based, and there wasn't a lot of time for a lot of other things with that. But it's been fun being in a place to kind of give back to the community a little bit and feel like I can now return a little to my roots, if you will, and be passionate about things that I'm passionate about. So.
But you really have 2 major prongs of how you contribute to our community. You were chief of medicine at Kittitas Valley Health for how many years?
About 5 years.
Okay. And that was at the end of a storied career here in Ellensburg as a physician. And then in amongst that, and now more so since you've retired, you have been very involved in the arts. And tell us a little bit more about Laughing Horse.
Well, Laughing Horse is the name that was attached to, you referenced a summer theater group here. That started really well before I became involved in it back in the very early 80s. That there was a community group that put together a summer repertory theater, brought in a bunch of people that were end of college, beginning of career life in.
It's a big deal. People trying to get in touch with us. It's a big deal.
There, I'll silence it. Where was I?
Summer theater.
Oh, summer theater. Okay.
People in.
Yeah, the group brought in students that were finishing college in theater arts or had completed college or um, had community involvement beyond that level. So these weren't kids, they were professionals. In fact, probably the most memorable person that was involved in that entire theater experience in that they ran that theater till the 90s. Brendan Fraser, who
is that right?
yeah,
Brendan Fraser was here in Ellensburg.
Was here in Ellensburg for
Really?
Ellensburg Summer Theater.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Just at the completion of his college
Oh, cool.
degree.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
yeah, the best actor last year in
Wow.
2025 was actually part of the community for a summer. So
it's interesting you mentioned this about theater. For those of you who don't know, Ellensburg used to be a destination for theaters. In fact, I think we had 11 live theaters in Ellensburg in the early late 1800s, early 1900s.
Really?
Yeah, 11.
Wow.
Is what I understand. Maybe Sadie Thayer at the museum could correct me on that, but I think I'm close to accurate. And what would happen is that the shows from the west side, Seattle, would take their shows via train, unload at the station, come up third, load into the theaters, try out their theaters. If it was a good hit, they'd load them back up, take them to Seattle, and they would
Wow.
go. If not, they wouldn't take them back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So theater has been a real important part of Ellensburg for a long, long time. Yeah.
So at the end of their run in about 78, 77, they kind of had a couple of years where the nonprofit organization that supported the theater kind of decided to take a vacation. They couldn't. They had tried to go maybe too big too quickly, and kind of the board decided they lost some money badly trying an experiment in that, and so after a couple of years of being dark, one of the very early members of that theatrical group was Larry Sharp, and he was their business manager.
You've been friends with Larry for a long time.
I've been friends with Larry for a long time, and starting about 26, 7 years ago, he had this idea of forming a music festival. And we got a group of people together and called it Jazz in the Valley, and wanted to put on a thing, and decided we would approach Laughing Horse Summer Theater about becoming, letting us become them, if you will, to assume their 501c3 status and kind of take it over, repurpose that name. At the same time, there was a group that wanted to do musical theater in town, led by a number of people, including Hal and Gay Ott and others, and they also approached at their annual board meeting and said, well, we said we'd like to take it over, and they said, well, we'd like to take it over.
So
all of a sudden, they had two takers for their name and 501c3 status.
I did not know that.
They said, well, thank you for your presentation. Let us talk a bit, and we'll get back to you. And the next day they called and said, well, we'd like to give it to both of you, but you guys need to get together and figure out how to make an organization that can cover both musical theater and jazz festival.
And did you?
So we spent about a year. There was a small group of us that met and kind of looked over various structures and bylaws and all of that. Finally came up with a new set of bylaws. We both utilized, I think the first year we put on the very first jazz festival in '78, and then I think the music festival started in '79. So both those been going for 26 years.
79.
Pretty much.
79?
99. You think
I'm sorry,
99.
99. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, 99. So both have been going for about 25, 26 years,
Gotcha.
with the exception of COVID. The structure we came up with was to rename the Laughing Horse Summer Theater into Laughing Horse Arts Foundation. And
Gotcha.
so that was the
Mhm.
origination of that, and we set up a structure that later did various things like I don't know if you remember the Spirit of the West
Oh, sure, yeah.
Cowboy Gathering. That was under our umbrella for a while. We put together a film festival.
Yep, remember that.
There's the dance cooperative was under us for quite a few years, and then just a number of years ago spun off and got their own 501c3 and went their own way. We there was a group in Upper County that approached us that developed a small community theater group called Boulay Productions that is still there. And there was a group doing classics that wanted to do things and has done the brown bag lunches for Beethoven and stuff like that for the community on a periodic basis. Done some programs in the schools and so on.
Wow, really far-reaching.
Led by the Kerry Rykoff and John Michelle and some of that group from the college. And then finally, most recently, we've added in Ellensburg Community Radio, which is right now a streaming radio for the community and is desiring to become a low-power FM broadcast station. So you'll be able to listen to them on your dial on the way
that'll be neat.
To and from.
So there's a lot going on in Ellensburg.
Well, that's just under Laughing Horse Arts Foundation.
Just from your own comparison, do you see Ellensburg as probably a little more oriented toward the arts, has a few more people that are willing to get involved, and more people motivated to see really nice things happen here?
I think the answer to that is yes, and I almost would turn that around, Phil, and say that I think partially because of that fostering of events that we were able to formulate with this umbrella arts organization, that we have become a very different community over the last 25 years. So I would remind you that back in 1999 at 5:30 at night, Ellensburg shut down. There was and during the summertime there was there were a few restaurants that were open and a few people would go out to that, and there's always the bar scene and so on, but there really wasn't much in the way of regular entertainment, activities, events, things to draw people together in a community. And that was part of what we chose to do with the music festival, and part of what Valley Theater Company, they call themselves now, has always done, is pull people together in a artistic endeavor that otherwise wouldn't naturally come together, and foster that enjoyment of community that I think is pretty important in making a place livable.
I totally agree.
So, and it took a few decades, but if you go downtown on a Friday or a Saturday night now, you might well be able to find music playing in 2 or 3 different places. You have different events almost every month of the year that are now sponsored in community events that provide opportunities for volunteerism and engagement and activity that make Ellensburg a very different place. So I think some of that came out of those efforts of providing a structure to allow people to organize and produce events under our umbrella.
This idea of people. For those of you who have been watching our podcast, you recognize that one of the themes that we've come up against or that we've experienced is that if you have an idea, you can action upon it. It's a place. Ellensburg is a place. The Kittitas Valley is a place where you can have an idea, action upon the idea, and see the idea to fruition. And this is really coming forth in your conversation that we're having now, in that you and the folks that you've surrounded yourself by, Larry Sharp and Joe Franz, and you mentioned Hal Ott, and there's just a whole bunch of people. I mean, I'm sure I'm missing most, but those are the people that come to mind. They are all those people have changed the face of Ellensburg because of the amount of efforts that they put into building the theater arts out in Ellensburg. Ellensburg has changed because of people changing Ellensburg.
Yeah, and there's actually data to back a lot of this up. There was a recent Washington Arts Fund is a nonprofit organization that I think operates out of a lot of big dollar grants to Bill Gates and others like that have donated a lot of money to support arts in Washington State. And they recently put together a survey, kind of a livability impact survey, if you will, that was kind of fascinating. I just listened to this just like with a week or so ago, so I don't have all of the numbers or everything firmly in head. I can refer to that, but they did a pretty good statistically based analysis of the entire country, kind of looking at developing kind of a livability index, if you will, and ways of measuring that, and things like the number of nonprofit arts or cultural organizations per 10,000 people in a community, and how many dollars were generated by arts communities in that community, and what the impact of that involvement, government support, how much government support, or usually in the form of things like hotel motel taxes and that kind of a thing to get returned to a community, and turns out that exactly what you would kind of think, that investment in the arts and cultural ecosystem of a community has a direct impact on various aspects that you might consider measures of community involvement. For instance, in Washington State, county by county, there's a difference in between about $20 a person flowing in from state funding for arts and cultural events to 3 cents a person.
Oh, wow.
In different counties. So you have obviously a stratification of high density and low density. Ellensburg, in terms of external money flowing in, is not that high. We're kind of in the low middle range. San Juan County, I think, is the top of the counties in our. But there's still a significant impact, because between the high and the low, if you a density of these kind of dollars and the number of arts organizations per person and that kind of those kind of measures, there's a huge impact and difference in things like that you wouldn't maybe expect, like a significantly greater level of active voters in the community.
Sure, it makes sense. Citizenry, actively involved citizenry.
A 33% increase from the high to the low in the number of volunteer activities in those communities. Fewer older people living alone.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So there's a number of measures like that, and they did a lot of statistical analysis. They did this research on the whole. I can get you the links because they handed out the slide deck, and you can listen to the whole presentation. But the whole the whole import of this was that investing into the arts, and especially into nonprofit arts organizations that support and coordinate the production of artistic activities, has a direct payoff to the rest of the community that may or may not be immediately obvious, but has a measurable impact on people.
We have our second question. This kind of leads into that. What are the challenges our community faces if we're going to move up that scale?
Yeah, well, some of it is to reach out to public officials and advocate. Now, Ellensburg as a city, the city council just invested last year in hiring a person as kind of their artistic and cultural development coordinator.
That's Kelly Vandenberg.
That's Kelly Vandenberg, and Kelly is the first person to hold that position. But that was never a position that the city ever or the county has ever supported. In my previous 45 years in this community, getting people like that to the table to talk about doing things in the arts just never happened. For whatever reason. So one of the things is to reach out and continue that support. Out of that, we've become one of the newer creative districts. We got that designation from the state. And out of that is likely to flow increased opportunities. We already have a lot of other creative districts around the state that are really actively interested in what we're doing.
But we were the second creative district, right?
No, I don't think I don't know how many.
I think that we were the second in the state, is what I remember.
I'm not sure about that. We're the first one that involved the university.
Oh, okay.
Aligned with the downtown creative district, and have essentially two creative districts cooperating with each other.
Okay.
And that was pretty unique. But I think these things require fostering and building. Ellensburg does not stand high on the list of state funds from investing from the outside, and that requires advocacy and talking to people that control the purse strings for those things, to convince them that these data are important, that investment in the community in the form of supporting the arts that exist and can exist within the community has an immediate payback, and a very measurable payback in how great a place it is to live there. So we benefited from that, and we're not down at the bottom in terms of things like hotel motel funds. We stand pretty well around the state. There's lots of eastern Washington counties that don't have what we have. So, but we're still not one of the top 5 counties in the state.
So progress to make.
Yeah. We have about 5 minutes, and so the progress. How do we tell if we're making progress? What kind of evidence would you look for let us know that we're actually moving up.
Well, to me, the validation part of this whole study was I can look around and I can see the progress. As I said, it's very experiential. You go down the First Friday Art Walk and wander around downtown, and it's a full. You can't find a place to park, and there's art in 10, 12 different facilities that kind of makes them an arts facility. And there's that's one of the measurable outcomes that they talked about. The number of facilities that foster and support artistic activities, whether it's music venues or places to put on theatrical events, or whether it's walking in and looking at a new set of paintings every month, or all of those things count in my mind as opportunities to get together and share with each other and communicate with each other and be with each other doing fun things. And that's kind of what I think our society is missing right now as much as anything. So some of this, you don't need a study to tell you if you're doing better. You just need to walk around downtown and figure out what there is to do that you didn't even know was there.
I really like First Friday, and it's kind of, now all Fridays in the month have something going on. Saturday night less so. But it's fun to get down Friday night and see friends, see people, get a glass of wine, a little bit of dinner, listen to some music.
That's right. That's right.
It's really good.
That's right. And those things, I think, enhance the livability, if you will, of a community. And just because of this recent concert or conference that I listened to, I have a word to put on it now. But livability is, I think, as good a one as any.
Well, I've been in this community since 1988. I came here as a college student, met my wife, my future wife, started our family. Dr. Herman delivered both of our children. I've been back here. We left for a short amount of time, came back in 95, excuse me, and I've been here ever since. And so I haven't been here the length of time that you and Phil have been here, but I have reaped the rewards of the work that you have done and the work that Phil has done in our community. And so I just want to say thank you. Thank you for creating community and seeing a vision and a possibility for Ellensburg that wasn't previously seen. And you've opened up your pocketbook. We didn't talk about this very much, but you have donated a lot of money, of your hard-earned money over the years, and you continue to Ellensburg Community Radio, Laughing Horse in all sorts of ways.
Gretchen Weller.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, both my late wife and I felt like we came here with almost nothing. So the community gave us everything we got in a sense. I worked for it, but it didn't come from far away, So it's a chance to give back is really important to me.
Well, folks, Don Solberg is a hero in our community here in Ellensburg. We're proud to talk to him today. We're running about out of time. We want to say thank you for listening today and watching our podcast, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Right, Phil?
Yeah, right. Thank you very much, Don. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Working in the community.
Thank you, guys, for the opportunity to promote the arts.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye. See you later.